Yeah, I mean, I always like to talk about the notion of, our musicality coming from a place where we were very young. And at a young age, there was a group of a bunch of young people who would come together. And they always wanted to express themselves in this urban culture. Whether it was dance, hip hop, R&B, soul, reggae, dancehall. These were things we were appealed to because they were beautiful things that were not happening in our environment. And so because they weren't happening and they were rare, our gathering during the holidays when other people came from school gave us the capacity to come together. And friendships were made. Other people would bring cassette tapes. I would host a bunch of guys at my church, and give them equipment to rap all day. In a time where, we used to record cassette tapes per day when we hanged out, and we'll call that our mixtape. And so Bataka Squad formulated out of that energy. A bunch of friends who used to come together to promote the things that they enjoyed as their hobbies. It just so comes that when we enjoyed it, we really wanted the people to know about it. So then we became the kids who would perform, let's say, when even dancehall, or Afrobeat was started in Uganda. Because then we'll be performing on Ruggedi's show or Shanks Vivid D. We were there rapping, and we were the ones that were known as the guys who do the hip hop. But that gave us the notion to build and have friendships that turned us into representing the land, which is Bataka Squad, which means the natives, the royals of the land. We became the royals of the land because we wanted to reclaim this expression in our language. We wanted to carry positive messages. We wanted to show people that rap is not just only something that happens in English, but we could do it in our own languages and that our people can be able to reconnect and share these expressions in relation to, the oratorical heritage that we have in our traditions.
People always had to remember where really rap hip hop comes from. This is the root. The African people who went to America, but this is where it came from because if you study tribal music, storytelling, riddling, talk about that.
At the end of the day, this year I'm doing an event called Back to the Source, and I encourage you, if you're a true underground MC and you're watching this video and you love community and you like building, hit us up for Back to the Source 2015, because Back to the Source is designed for our global family to come and trade wisdom, to build, encourage, and get with us on this journey of reconnecting. Because whether you're in Africa or you're abroad, there's a disconnection that has happened, all within a conversation that's not happening. And so we have a Back to the Source event coming up. But the whole notion of hip hop, it is the blueprint of hip hop is here in Africa. It's in every tradition, it's in every culture that you go to. When you see their rituals, their dance, their recitals, they all have hip hop elements in them, which goes to say that, the spirit of hip hop being birthed in the Bronx was a precursor. It's something that had trailed from what happened during the Atlantic slavery, when soul music, when this energy, of the essence of the Negro spiritual, all of that grounded in the expressions of the struggle of the continent. And I think that all of that together, contributes to, the notion of what we're doing today as indigenous MCs, is bringing the convening back to all of us to be able to unite and reconnect. So, when I use the word back to the source, I use it proudly because we're living in that era where we need to go back to the foundation, to be able to really redefine where we've got today.
Because it's all still here.
It's never left. It's just our mind frames were shifted and targeted differently. So what we've been dealing with in life is not necessarily what our life is. And so when we have a conversation to be able to revisit the foundation, maybe we'll come out better beings and appreciate life on a greater scale.
I just feel like Africa never lost anything. Everything is here, the culture, the land, the resources. Is that we've been trained to forget our powers.
Trained to forget, that's what the colonial masters did. The conditioning. We are a conditioned generation. And my quote would be, to each young African or each young indigenous, individual who reclaims their brain memory to represent their people, that's a step forward to the change we want to see in the world, not only their, the demographic they represent, because then we'll become a global unified people who stand for our people. And so I believe that hip hop has given us an opportunity to do that on a greater scale in every culture, in every tradition. Like, Uganda's got about 58 or almost 60 dialects. And so that each young MC who tunes into his indigenous expression, well, that's the next advocate, that's the next philosopher, that's the next wisdom preserver for their generation. And that's what hip hop has given us the opportunity to do. So I think it's given us the notion to decolonize. It's given us the right tools within this decolonizing process, to take away the colonized mind and transplant the real mind that we're supposed to be operating from. And that's the mind that appreciates our land, our language, that is in love with the beauty of who we are. And you don't look at yourself and say, I'm too black, I'm too light. You love yourself from the concept of life and the humanity that you represent.